To another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo interview time. Yeah, that guy up beside me there, yeah, that's Drew Davenport. The one that has the gleaming three championship Kings Classic belts that I have none of. Yeah, that's him. And we're going to talk about what Footballguys is doing, of course, the amazing poker tournament that they put on, and we're going to do everything right after this. Switch to something different. I'm back. I'm getting used to the new studio. Anyway, that's Drew Davenport. Drew from Footballguys. You guys have been putting on the amazing poker tournament every year. First off, let me say thank you again for all of that. Joe Bryant, I know he'd love to be here, helping support that as well. But again, welcome back to the show. Another year, your fifth annual poker tournament at the Fantasy Football Expo. How you doing, brother? What's been going on?
You know what? I'm getting geared up. Content season. I'm feeling the crush, but I also love this time of year and looking forward to the expo. It's easily one of my favorite things I do all year, fantasy or otherwise, just period.
Right. Cool.
It's one of the favorite things I ever do. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to go.
All right. So we always do this with our guest, and you may have brought this up to folks last year, but hey, we got new listeners, we got new exhibitors, we got lots of new people watching these shows. So Drew, talk about your humble beginnings in fantasy football. When did you start? Not when you started writing. When did you start playing? What year was it? What were you in school? Were you in college? How did it all get started for you? Who hooked you in, man?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give a shout out to my buddy Greg Shope from law school. That's when I started playing.
Okay.
He was into it back then, and I just got in some like dumb little like salary cap things where you pick a team, and then if your team does well, you get a bigger cap and you can like buy better players.
Okay.
Like those things they're really old. That's late 90s.
Yeah, right.
So and then when I actually got in my first league, believe it or not, it was an auction league. And that's why I am who I am today.
You are the
because
man.
I thought that was the way you played fantasy football. And
it's the way you should play fantasy.
I totally agree. But that's another story. But yeah, that's how I got started. I got started in auctions, and then, it just kind of grew from there. And I played for a long time, and I have been a subscriber to Footballguys really since the early 2000s. I started, and then I got lucky enough to latch on to them, about 7 years ago, which I can't believe it's been 7 years.
Yeah, when did Footballguys begin? Do you know?
I think it was right around the turn. Excuse me, right around the turn, like 99, 2000. I think.
Okay, because I've also been a subscriber, probably pretty close to that time frame. Maybe it's 2002, but I mean, it wasn't long after it came out. Just found it to be an amazing source of information, and I'm still a subscriber. And I tell Joe that he looks at me like, "You? Why would you?" And I'm like, Joe, you have the best stuff and the best people writing for you. You got Bob Harris, you got Drew in the auction side, you've got Gary Davenport of, not related to you, the IDP side. It's just, I mean, there's just so many amazing, and then the I'll call them the old timers. Sigmund and Cecil and all those guys just been around for such a long time. Just such a great job. So. Yeah, we love Footballguys. Obviously, love the support that you guys give. But let's talk about that transition from you playing to you now being the auction man. Like, the auction brief is your thing, but those belts prove why you are the best when it comes to auction drafts, my friend. Talk about that transition from player to content creator.
They've gone hand in hand, and I got to be honest, like I've gotten a lot better as an auction player when I got into the business. But yeah, I really started, that's how I got my shot because I was on Twitter. I was talking a little bit about the Tyreek Hill case because of my legal background. And then Joe looked at my Twitter and saw auction stuff on my Twitter, and he says, "Hey, we need both. What do you think?" Talking about Joe Bryant. And he sort of dropped into my DMs like, "Hey, let's talk." Of course, I idolized the guy.
Yeah,
So
right.
I said, yeah, heck yeah, let's talk. And then I find myself the next day on the phone with Sigmund Bloom, and my mind was just blown. That was back in 2019.
Nice.
And yeah, that was a lucky break. I mean, I put myself out there for sure, but that
Right.
was a lucky break. And then we got the request to send somebody to King's Classic, and they didn't really have anybody in state that was very close or into
Mm-hmm.
it or could do it. And they're like, "Hey, we got this new guy. Send the new guy."
Send the
Well,
new guy.
believe it, that's blown up into something that I could
Yeah.
never thank Joe enough for that. I tell him every time I see him. He changed the trajectory of my life, and so I got into Football Guys in 2019, and still working for him and working on magazine content right now.
I'm sure. Yeah, and you guys won Magazine of the Year last year, best publication by Fantasy Sports Writers America, and I'm just humbled to always be just even nominated with folks like Football Guys, NBC Sports, with my consistency guide. Uh,
Hmm.
so to lose to Joe, to Joe Bryan and Football Guide, and trust me, I bought your guys' magazine. Outstanding. Just
They did a wonderful job.
amazing job you guys do. Looking forward to it. So as you talked about, and not a lot of people, well, people who know you know, but you're a lawyer, you've got a legal background,
Hmm.
and you are basically, I have yet to see anybody else. Like I'm the authority on consistency, whether that's any worthy or not. But when it comes to these cases, when we got the Rasheed Rices and Jordan Addisons, those kind of things, and stuff comes down, and decisions have to be made. Things have to be looked at from a legal aspect of where these guys are going to be, what's going to happen to them, the trials and stuff like that. You are the man. So talk about how you kind of pulled that into, because some of these players just don't like to play nice outside of the football field and think that they own the world, and they don't, but they make bad decisions, just like our
Yeah.
first do.
Yeah. Well, I came by it honestly again because I leaned into the things that I have experience with, and
Right.
that was auction drafting because that's how I started, and that's
Hmm.
legal stuff because I've now been a lawyer. I cannot believe this, but I've now been a lawyer for 25 years. This is my
Wow.
25-year anniversary this fall of being sworn in. So that's, I appreciate you saying that about me being the guy to go to because I'm just like I'm blown away. I still have imposter syndrome about the fact that that's me and that people come to
I
me,
know.
but
Trust me.
I I'm sure you understand. So
Yeah.
it's it's really fun though, and I think the thing that has really gotten me the foothold that it has is the fact that when we see these things happen,
Hmm.
we're very reactionary, and that's just life now because of the
Hmm.
social media blender and because
Yep.
of all the outrage that people are feeling about regular everyday life. They immediately apply that filter over the top of any fantasy news, and
Hmm.
particularly when guys get in trouble. And
Yeah.
it's always like, he's out of the league, he's done, this is over.
This
I
should
mean,
be 12 games.
yeah.
And
And we just know that if the first thing we can do is we can just pull way back, then we're already ahead of the game because the rest of the world's freaking out. If I can pull everybody back and say, hold on, there's X, Y, and Z going on here. We still have a
Mhm.
lot to,
Here's the
yeah,
process.
yeah. And so I try to do that as dispassionately as possible. It's not always
Hmm.
easy because I have my private beliefs about this stuff and, particularly domestic
Sure.
violence stuff. It's really
Hmm.
hard not to be like, I can't stand this loser. He's beating on women. It's
Yeah.
hard,
Right.
but now that when you say, hey, you're the guy that people come to, that weight gets heavier every off season because I feel
Sure.
it. I feel people expecting to hear the right answers. And I haven't
Mhm.
missed very many times. I've missed a couple times, with the Rishi Rice thing specifically.
Mhm.
But in general, I've been pretty dead on just because I'm able to just turn my brain off because that's what I do every day. And
Mhm.
I see a lot of fact patterns every day in my job where I think to myself,
Sure.
God, this is horrible. How am I going to defend this? And then I end up, you have to do it. You have to
Mhm.
zealously represent your clients. So I end up with that mindset, and that works well with what I do for the fantasy space.
I think what you do a great job of is you remove yourself from the fantasy perspective of that player and you focus on the human being and the process. That's the thing. Anytime I see this stuff happening, Drew, and I feel there's many, many people out there that are with me, is I'm directly going to your Twitter to see what the process is going to be for this scenario.
Yeah.
Because you will lay it out of, well, this will take 3 to 6 months before this will get to this point. Then it'll have to go to, whatever the various phases are. And I'm like, well, if it's going to take that long, probably won't get much this year. It'll postpone to next year, which, I think the one year that I took Kamara was when he was kind of in trouble and we didn't know if he was going to get, and I drafted him a ton of drafts because nobody wanted him because, and you were saying this is going to take 9 months before this even gets, the season will be over. And I'm like, beautiful, thank you, Drew. And I went and drafted him.
I'll tell you what, a funny story about that with related to the Kings Classic. We were walking into the Kings Classic that year that all was all going on, and somebody says to me, "Hey, how about Alvin Kamara?" And they're asking me about it as we're walking in, and they said, "By the way, do you feel responsible for the fact that his ADP is where it is?" And I thought, now, talk about a heady feeling. Like the entire fantasy industry, whatever, 15
He's
million people
blaming the
play.
ADP on you.
Yeah, my 80, I'm moving the ADP. That was wild to me.
Yeah.
But that was the first time that I thought to myself, oh God, okay, I really have a strong responsibility here too.
Yeah, I mean, it's what the famous is a Spider-Man with great power comes great responsibility. I mean, that's it because
Yeah.
people are looking at you because very few people know that world, and it's great that you do, and you have the fantasy background to go with it. So, yeah, folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm telling you, the next time something happens in the fantasy world when it comes to a legal aspect, well, first off, you should be following Drew, which is there's his Twitter right there, because it'll be there. You'll be able to know what's going on, like all of us. So please follow this man, and also if you do auctions too. So you get a 2 for 1. I only get a 1 for 1 for me. It's just consistency. That's all I do. Unless you need accounting help, but never mind. But Drew, let's talk about the excitement that is, once again, Football Guys is in full force coming this year. Lanyard sponsor. We're going to have, of course, the panel, as always, Joe sponsors, which is the, how to get started in fantasy football for content creators just starting or want to be content creators to learn about what you need to know, what you need to do, who you need to connect with. One of the best panels every year. We always love that. But more importantly, why you're here to talk about is the 5th annual Football Guys Poker Tournament, or as we call it, the Icebreaker. It is money to get in, but you don't win money, so we can do this. It's all for charity. Football Guys puts up all of the prizes, subscriptions, jerseys, hats, whatever. Great stuff. But Drew, I'm going to let you talk about like how when it happens, when it goes on. Obviously we'll direct them to the expo site, and they can get their stuff there to buy their admission ticket, I guess, to get in it. But talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, and I love that this gives me a chance to talk a little bit about it too, because you don't have to play poker to come to the event and hang out. So I want to stress that right up front, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But
Yeah.
yeah, as Bob mentioned, we give away a lot of stuff. We give away Football Guys merchandise. We give away Football Guys subscriptions. I mean, those are $90 a pop. The
Yeah.
subscriptions are. We give away, hats, sweatshirts, T-shirts. But then we also the big tamale is we give away 4 autographed pieces, and those are for poker players. You can win that by getting to the final table. But then we also always give away a really nice something that's just a door prize, whether it be an autographed helmet or an autographed jersey. I think last year we had an autographed Justin Jefferson helmet, maybe.
Nice.
But yeah, we always get really nice stuff. We've had Jamar Chase autographed stuff, Justin Jefferson, Jameer Gibbs. Last year, second place in the poker tournament was a Jameer Gibbs, the
Nice.
new his zero Lions jersey. So very cool prizes. So if you buy a $50 ticket, you get entered in the door prize thing to win Football Guys merch, Football Guys subscriptions, and the one big autographed piece. That $50 also gets you into the poker tournament if you want to play.
Right.
If you don't want to play, you can come and win the door prizes, and you can eat as well. That's the big draw too. We have, a cheese spread, meatballs, wings, pizza, so you can eat. And here's the best part. If you don't want to play poker, you don't care about the door prizes, show up and pay $10. That goes all directly to charity. So we take a
Perfect.
$10 charity donation at the door. That allows you to come in and eat. So just, hey, $10, you already bought your lunch, but then uh, we give that to charity. We've given away, I think, almost $4,000
Fantastic.
in the years that we've been doing this to a local domestic violence shelter in my area.
Love it.
So your ticket, your $50 ticket, part of that goes to charity, part of it goes for the cost of the event, and then if you don't play, the $10 goes right to charity. So either one, just come hang
Yeah.
out. And the reason it's called the Icebreaker is because it is the very beginning of the weekend. I know a lot of people show up Thursday night and we all hang out, but at noon on Friday is our event. So you're not missing anything else in the expo weekend. That's part of what I love about it.
Yeah.
You can come play. We're done at 5. Last year we went a little long, like maybe 5:45. But every other year we've been done right about the right time at 5 o'clock. That gives you a couple hours to get back to your hotel, do other things, or an hour to get. And that's if you're playing all the way to the end. But
Right. Yeah.
you
Right.
might not be. So
Right.
you'll be done 3, 4 o'clock at the latest. You'll have a couple hours, and then the event itself is just the icebreaker part of it is wonderful because football guys are there, like guys like, well, Joe will be there for a little bit, obviously, but
Yeah.
um,
Joey's usually there, right?
yeah, like Gary shows up, and we have quite a few guys from football guys, but also just a ton of people from the industry do come in and play and hang out. So I hope y'all make it. It's Friday noon to 5 of Expo weekend. That's the 24th.
Yes, and as Drew said, the price is $50, and it's a great time. Like I said, I really wish I could play if I wasn't putting on this expo.
Yes.
But this is the most important part, folks. There's only 52 tickets available. So I think we're halfway. I think we're halfway.
Yeah.
So we got time, or you got time, to get your ticket, lock it in. If you're already coming to the expo, just go online, find the beautiful picture of Howard Bender and Joe Bryant hugging. That's where you click on the link. Get there, pick you want to play poker, pay your $50, get locked in before it sells out. Because when it sells out, Drew doesn't have any room for anybody else. There's no, oh, we'll add 10 more. It's it. It's only
Yeah,
that's all the
and
room
that
they have. That's all the time they've got. So you got to get locked in. Do not miss this. If you can come in early, especially if you're coming in Thursday night, go and play. Like you'll be done. Unless you're like really good at poker and you make it all the way to the end. Maybe it'll be 5:30.
yeah,
So you're a little bit late for the Friday party. It starts at 6. It's no big deal.
yeah.
You're not going to miss much.
No.
Most of the time, we're just starting to play cornhole and that stuff anyway. So
Let me
definitely.
clarify. There's only 52 seats for the poker tournament.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you want to come and pay the 50 and win the door
Right.
prizes, that's unlimited. And
That's
also the $10 is unlimited too.
yes.
We've never like had the place packed, but
Yeah.
there's always a lot of people there coming in and out. So don't
Right.
feel like, hey, I missed a ticket, I can't come.
Yeah.
But if you want to play poker, like Bob says, there is a finite number. We can't just add tables because we have a finite space there in the bar.
Remind me if I'm wrong on this. Do we only sell 50 tickets and then you auction off 2 tickets for charity to get in for once it gets sold out?
We sell 52 and then we
Okay.
auction off 2 seats, and
Okay.
that's for the people who say, oh no, I didn't know there was a poker tournament, I want to get in. And then the price ends up, I think the highest bid ever has been $100
Okay.
for one of the seats.
Okay. I
But
knew there was some kind
yeah,
of, if it
yep,
sells out, you've got 2 backups to sell
yep,
for charity, but it's going to
yeah,
cost
and
you more than
those,
$50.
it is, it's going to cost you more than 50. The minimum is going to be 60, but that 100% of those 2 seats also goes to charity as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's awesome. The location is the M Bar for those of you who've been here in the past, especially if you were here last year. The M Bar is our Saturday night party. Jersey's M Bar side by side. This year we have a block of rooms at the Holiday Inn, which is right across the street. The DoubleTree is sold out. So I'll tell everybody now, if you're planning on I assume you're planning on going to the Saturday party. You might be probably doing draft night out, which is also in Jersey's, which is across the street, and then the M Bar is for the poker. So if you're doing all three of those, there's no reason you shouldn't be staying at the Holiday Inn, because it literally is right across the street from those two locations, which are side by side restaurant bar. So definitely get that. If you haven't got your ticket, get your expo ticket, get your poker ticket, lock in at the Holiday Inn, and you will be set for the weekend. We will have the shuttle buses that will go from the Holiday Inn down to the Friday party and to the expo on Sunday at the Civic Center, which is a change this year. So don't have to worry about it either way. Drew, let's talk about the experiences that you've had at the Fantasy Football Expo. Let's step back as the football guy, as the three-time champion at the King's Classic, and just talk about, as a fantasy football fan, as a content creator, some of the things that you have seen that have really caught your eyes, or caught you, that was, some cool stuff. Or just tell people who may have never been there your experiences, what you like about it, what you have seen over the past 5 years that you have been there.
Yeah, so I'll say that most of all, and I think everybody agrees with this, that it's these relationships that we build when we go there. And I'll come back to that in a minute. But in general, I started back in 2019 when I came to the King's Classic, and the
Right.
Expo was just a glint in Bob's eye. And then of course we had COVID, and then 2021 sort of exploded. It's been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And I don't say that just as an analyst, because when I started coming, I was like, well, I'm still nobody, but I was nobody. Like, and no, I would walk into a room and nobody knew who the heck I was. Now, last year, a couple of people were like, "That's Drew," which also like made my head swell up a little bit. But so I walked in and everybody was just so nice. Like, everybody is just happy to be there. They're happy to be doing that, uh, doing this in the name of a thing that we all love. So I think that the industry connections, first of all, if you want to work in this business, the expo is a absolute must. I don't know how you can try to break in and try to network without coming to this thing. You just have to. So from a business standpoint, you got to do that. I think also, like, some of the activities that are surrounding the weekend. I think it's easy to come and just be like, I want to go drink at the bar. Like, don't, like, get involved, sign up for stuff,
Right.
do stuff. That's what the whole point of the weekend is. And you'll have a good time while you're doing that. You don't have to go to the bar and rip 8 White Claws to have a good time. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff going on. And
Yeah.
even coming to the Hall of Fame, like, I've never felt the way that I felt about a fantasy league getting into the Hall of Fame to draft in the Hall of Fame. Like,
Yeah.
that's just chills kind of stuff. It never goes away. Every year I walk up to the Hall of Fame and take my selfie, and I think this is incredible pinch me stuff. Like, it's something I can never replicate. And so it's not just that feeling, but it's all of it wrapped up into one. And that's kind of what it comes back to. It's like, yeah, it's good for my career in the business. It's also, one of the best fantasy leagues I play in. It's a ton of fun, but also that the group of people that I've met and that I've come to talk to outside of fantasy analyst space, those are some of my favorite people in the world right now. And, Brian Drake's one of my best
Yeah.
friends, and I met him the first year I came because he was the auctioneer for the Blanda auction room that year. And he was like, I've never, had a lot of experience with this. He said, I know what I'm doing in general, but talk to me about this. And then Brian and I are, you know, really close. So I don't think I can overstate how the relationships, the networking, the fun, like, it's all there. It's all in one weekend, and I just can't talk glowingly enough about Expo Weekend, about what you've done for the community.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So let's talk about from a fan perspective.
Hmm.
How does a fan not go there and learn so much information? And when people are like, "Well, what do the fans get out of this?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, think whatever you want to, Comic Con, like where you go and meet like your favorite, artists or actors or actresses or whatever. And I've never been to one, but I assume that's what it's like. I mean, this is the Comic Con for fantasy football. Like you come there and you are hanging out all weekend, Friday party, Saturday party, the drafts, all day at the expo. We've got 2 stages of panel discussions with the biggest and brightest people around. Drew with auctions. We've got Marcus Grant from NFL. We've got Bob Harris from Football Guys. We've got Howard Bender at time. We've had him from Fantasy Alarm, J.J. Zachariason, Jeff Ratcliffe, Jim Coventry. Oh, God, who am I missing? Mauricio from NFL Mexico, Brian Drake, Doug Orth from Now Runs the Huddle, and on and on. I'm sure missing some. And we've had random times where Jeff Mans and some of these other guys have been involved. Michael Fabiano, Dave Richards from CBS Sports, Andy Behrens, Yahoo. We have Matt Harmon. So I mean, outside of Matthew Berry, who just kind of has a different life than we do, but he always says, "Someday I may I'll come." Everybody else is there. So talk about it from a fan perspective of why any fan. I always say, one, if you're into fantasy football, and two, you've never been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you have no excuses to not be there. Yeah. But from a fan, talk about all of the advantages and insides and scoops and stuff you get that you just can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, well, I still consider myself a fan of all these guys.
Totally agree.
When I walk into a room and I see Mike Clay or I see JJ, Matt Harmon, or I was just hanging out in Indy with Matt Harmon and Nate Tice, and I'm still just those guys are big. Those those are I'm fans still. So
yeah, right.
I tell everyone when I went in 2019, I sat across the table from Mike Tagliere and Marcus Grant and had the best time with those guys. And that's what I'll tell you as a fan. I think it's intimidating, and I can understand that. Like you're walking into a situation, especially if you're coming alone, bring a buddy, bring your spouse or something so you have a home base to be with. But in general, you're walking into this situation which I get is intimidating, but these people themselves are not intimidating people. If you walk up and say, "Hey, I'm so and so," they're all gonna be gracious. They're all gonna be nice. And like again, I'll stress again that there's fun stuff to do all weekend for fans. Like you don't just have to be hardcore into fantasy. You can still be interested in being a fan and being into it. And I tell you what, it's cool to walk around and talk to somebody, and it inevitably turns to football. We don't all do that, but
it's kind of like
I'll never forget meeting Rich Rebar about 5 years ago, and now Rich is a good friend because he lives up in Cleveland, and I had no idea that Chris Allen is here in my town.
Right.
So I play poker with
Ian Hartis.
Ian Hartis lives in Columbus now. So
Fantasy Life,
I get these clowns together, and we become good friends. But that's because of the expo. So again, I don't think there's no excuse. And you reference the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I laugh about this all the time, but I told my wife back the first time I went that it was bizarre that I had never done a full tour. Now, apparently I did with my parents when I was like 10, but I don't remember. And so the first time I went as an adult was in 2019 when I came to the King's Classic. And you're right, you have no excuse, because when I walked in, to the Super Bowl room, and there was clips from old Super Bowls playing, and you walk through all the champions, and then you've got the Lombardi room with the actual Lombardi trophy in it. You can take a picture with. There's nothing like that. If you're a football fan, you can't tell me a reason that's good enough that you haven't done that. So that alone is a great reason to come. Yeah. But again, the fan aspect is just it's unparalleled, and I think it's just because our industry is a little bit different than other industries. Like we're not wildly famous people, that
Right.
walk down the road and people go, "There's Bob Lung, there's Drew Dunn." We're more accessible, and we also know it. We get it. We know what we are. Like
Yeah. Right.
we don't think we're awesome dudes. We think, hey, we just love fantasy football. And we happen to get a job in the business, and everybody acts like that, and that's why it's so great for fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And that was the one thing I think that really caught me off guard when this all started after a couple of years. It was like there are no egos. And there is no badgering, there's no hatred, there's nothing. I mean, we see it on social media because everybody hides behind a keyboard. But I tell people, like, look, what you see on social media for fantasy football is not what's going to happen in the expo. In fact, I won't say it because I don't want to threaten anybody, but it's like, if that would ever happen, I feel like somebody would be taken care of by many people if somebody came there and started causing some kind of disturbance. I don't see, and we talk about the fellowship and the camaraderie. And one of my favorite stories was like the first big year, so 2021. And I remember a young Afro American young man said something on Twitter about he didn't feel like he fit in because of his race at the expo. And before I could even contact Marcus Grant or Chris Allen or something, they had already swooped in, said, "Hi, I'm Marcus Grant, I'm Chris Allen, I'm Mauricio. We're all from distant. We would love to meet you at the hotel and have a drink." And they handled it with the utmost grace, the utmost enthusiasm to make this person feel comfortable. And I didn't have to do any of it. Like I was ready to. I was ready to make this happen. They did it all. And the next day, that person went on Twitter and said, I can't even tell you how great it felt for these people, important people like Marcus Grant, like Chris Allen, to come out and meet me personally to make me feel comfortable with this group. And that's what this group is about. There is no race, there is no sex, we are all fantasy football fans regardless of anything else, and that's all that matters. That's why it's such a great group. So
It is. You nailed it. It's a welcoming group. They're all nice. They're all going to talk to you. Nobody's going to look at you and be like, "Quit bugging me," you know.
yeah,
But that's the other thing too. Fans don't run up and just like hound people. It's
yeah,
just such a respectful.
yeah.
I say it all the time. There's never been a group of people, 500 people in a park in a bar setting like that.
Mhm.
That's more respectful of
Yeah.
each other than the fantasy community.
Yeah. And I
And
tell people,
happens everywhere.
if you walk up to Bob Harris or whoever and say, "Hey, what are your thoughts on X player? Here's what I feel." They might disagree with you,
Yeah.
and it's okay. And so, they're going to say why they feel this way. You're going to say why you feel that way. And you're going to chink glasses and go to Brees Hall. And there you go. And you've learned something from that person. Maybe that person learned something from you. And now you both feel better about that player or worse, whatever you want to feel. But, we're not all going to agree. That's one, but like you said, it's not very often that 500 people can disagree on lots of things and still be
Yeah.
good friends, having a drink together, having some time together, and learning from each other. About what their insight is, and I think that's, like I said, you said it best too. We're all fans. You and I are fans. Like when I go there and I'm listening to Rich Dotson and the guys from Dynasty Nerds, because that's not my specialty, is Dynasty. And I'm like, that's, yeah. I mean, so, that's what's great about all of this stuff. So, yeah, definitely love it. Drew, any last things that you want to add before we go here? Time has flown, but
Yeah.
as always, appreciate Joe, Football Guys, and everybody being a big part of this again this year. Why don't you tell them one last time about where to go and how to get their tickets for the poker tournament?
Yeah.
And or if you want to add anything else, certainly do that as well.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Football Guys is is always found that the community of the expo is something to be supported. And I know Joe would echo that sentiment. I know he's tied up tonight, but
Yeah.
he just believes so much in the community. He believes in the home leagues, in the connections, and the social aspect of it that he believes that's so important. And that's really what the expo is all about. So I can't stress it enough. You just have to do it. If you're a fan and you're watching this and you're like, oh, I kind of want to, I just don't know, I'm nervous, whatever, it's okay to come by yourself. Like, people are going to be nice to you. I'll buy you a drink, come up,
Yeah.
we'll chat. Like,
Right.
it's just,
I
yeah,
too.
it's just, there's no reason to be nervous about it.
Yeah.
I promise you, when you get there, you're going to be like, why was I nervous about coming to this?
Yeah. Right.
It's not, it's intimidating to think about. It's not intimidating when you get there. So
Right.
I can't express that enough. But come out 12 to 5, July 24th at the M Bar. We'll be playing some poker, giving away cool autograph stuff, giving away subscriptions, eating pizza and wings. Just come hang out with us, and it's going to be a great weekend. Can't wait to do it.
Awesome. Thank you again, Drew and Football Guys, for your support. TheFantasyFootballExpo.com is where you get your tickets for the expo. You get your tickets for the poker tournament and lots of other things. There's lots of things you can do also during the weekend. So you'll find out everything that's going on there. Read what's happening over the weekend. It gives you the full itinerary, where things are, what things are happening, all that kind of stuff. You will not regret it, we promise. So for Drew Davenport from Football Guys, I'm Bob Lung, Fantasy Football